Hey, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in to Faithfully Her. I am your girl, Liana Michelle, and I'm so excited to have you guys with me today. Before we jump into our special guest, whoop, whoop, yes, I have a special guest, y'all, and she internationally known. Look at your girl moving up in the world. So I'm super excited to have her today. But before we jump into her, I just want to show you guys Faithfully Her merchandise. So we have our sweatshirt, we have our short sleeve shirts, we have journals, and I love this journal. So yes, and it comes with the paper already in there for you. So okay. We have socks. So if you like to get on the couch and Netflix and chill, you can have your socks on. And we have our tumbler, our Faithfully Her tumbler with the metal straw, so it keeps your cold cold and your hot hot, and you could get your life real good walking around staying hydrated. Okay, so yay for merchandise. But enough with that. Now I want to introduce you to a Detroit native. She is an R&B singer. She is super talented. She has a song that is currently, I think it's Grammy considered right now. And she is on the charts over in Europe. So we are so excited to have with us today our musical guest, Lady Bain.
Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you.
Like I wish I had streamers or pom-poms or something for you. I'm so excited.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I was so excited when you agreed to come on. So I went right into looking up your music, listening to songs, heard a couple of interviews that you did. So I was really, really like doing my research because I didn't want to slip on you since you internationally known. I didn't want to slip. I wanted to make sure I did this right. So let's get into. I know in one of your interviews, I heard that you were saying your father or your parents are from a different background. So can you just give us a little bit of insight of that history and how that shaped your childhood or so forth?
So my dad is from Abaco, Bahamas. He came over here in the early 60s. My mom is Southern Belle from Brooksville, Florida. And they've been together for over 50 years, been married 50 years, and just watching. Yes, right.
Yeah.
Give us 50 days.
Some people
right?
can't make it 50 minutes.
I'm about to tell you that, right, girl. Yes. So, however, I got a chance to be privy to watching two people become one. Because typically when you get married, that's the goal. But they had some severe hardships. My dad was laid off from the big three in the 80s for about maybe 4 or 5 years. So just being that hardcore man from the islands that's used to being the provider and that go-getter, I watched how my mom had his back. I watched how they made it move.
Yeah.
And that's where one of my songs comes from. It's called All Right. So that's in dedication to not only them, but to other people that can figure it out, find a way, make a way to make their home work, make their family work. I didn't like it because I didn't understand it. When you're young, you don't get why two people would stay together through the hard times. But that's typically the goal. They understood the assignment,
Right. And when we are young, we look at our parents and the things that they do, and sometimes we don't recognize that they're human also. So we don't understand some of the things that they're doing, the choices, or you know what I'm saying? Because we kids, we're not supposed to understand it. But yeah.
But it definitely shaped my passion, when I got older and I began to reflect on some of the things I saw, with the sickness and the hardships with the finances. I'm like, this is a story. This is how you do it. But again, in my childish brain, I'm like, no, I'm out of there. Right. If it get rough, I'm not dealing with that, but to look back now and just see the crown that they have from working it and, just in my mind, that's the kingdom mindset. They became royalty to me. So
Amen.
yeah.
Amen. That is
Right,
a
gotta be
beautiful
it.
tribute to your parents. And you brought up the song All Right. And I clicked on it, I saw the video, and I thought the visual, like the song itself, the words are beautiful. I love
Thank
it.
you.
I understand the story you're telling, and the visuals just brought it all. I was like, oh my, the black and white photos. I think it was one of them sitting in a park or something. And I was just like, this is just so beautiful. Like I understood the whole story. So let's just say your parents understood the assignment and they taught you how to understand it as well. Because you did that was a beautiful tribute to them.
Thank
How
you.
how do they feel about Lady Bain and this notoriety that you're receiving for your music?
Oh, you know what? I think at first my mom was a little leery because I do R&B, and I had to explain to her it's not just it's art, it's art. It's an expression of passion. It's an expression of what I perceive through my eyes. So I was raised in the church, so she's like, hey, that's so just to take the sting out of it, I'm like, somebody's got to take the paintbrush and paint a picture to people, and I feel like that's what God gave me the gift to do. So I think she's on board with it now. My dad's always been on board with it, but mom surely made sure I stayed in the church choir growing up, and so they both support me wholeheartedly now.
And when I'm listening to you, I can hear your gospel roots in you, even in like maybe some of your runs, or just like the power when you're delivering certain phrases within a song. I can hear it, and it really, like, I was listening to one the other day and I was like, ooh, like that kind of, I was like, wait a minute, let me go back, let me listen to it again. I think it was Pure Love.
Thank you.
Like, I really enjoyed it. So I love the way that you tell your stories. And I think a lot of days, well, especially nowadays, R&B has gotten away from the art of love and the art of what it was about, and it's become more of, we could do it in my Jeep, or what I'm saying.
Right.
It took a big turn from the R&B I grew up with, and I'm 47. So, I grew up with my mom playing Smokey and, Motown and the Isley Brothers, and you know what I'm saying? Even Dionne Warwick, Lord Jesus.
Right.
With those old school crooners and lovers and people that were talking about relationships and their hard times and this and that. And so I grew up under that. So to hear what it's turned into with, everything is a twerk, a booty pop, and who bought the Birkin bag and who has on the red bottom. And it's like, love is so much more than material things. And I love that you bring that. That's the thought I got listening to your music, was she is bringing back the essence of what R&B was talking about when they talked about love. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes, that's definitely my goal, is just to keep that integrity there with real R&B music.
So to even kind of go into that, with the way things are nowadays, you're looking at social media and it's just a lot, right? How do you keep yourself from shifting into what may be considered mainstream and staying true to your art form?
Oh, great question. I think with that, it's, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit, with one of my songs, Riding Dirty. I'll let you guys know I can do that. I can go there, but I have to keep it with the pure love, yes to love, and, even other side, So I'll give them a little bit here and there, but I'm not going to cater to that group outside of really what I feel in my heart. I can make fun music, country music, pop, I can do it all, but the essence of who I am is just penning those R&B songs and or ballads. I even like to call them ballads at times, and that's very rare nowadays. So, right,
Yes,
and I
it
grew
is,
up on some
girl.
ballads,
Cause
girl,
I do.
right?
I love a ballad. Let me get my hairbrush and stand in this mirror and mess up all these notes. But I'm gonna but I
Right.
love a ballad, you know. So you keep giving us ballads, and I'm gonna keep messing up all the notes, okay? Now, how long have you actually been in the industry, music industry?
Okay. Well, I would say where I've taken it seriously.
Okay.
You know, when you're a child and you think, okay, I got years upon years to do this. So I didn't really take it seriously when I was in my teens, and I didn't really have anything to write about. So I would try to formulate my opinions off of someone else or how they sounded, and it just didn't work out. So I would say since late 2018, um, it was like the door was wide open for me. And again, I didn't really have any serious songs. I had some, you know, jingles or whatever that I'd written. But late 2018 was when it kind of happened for me. Um, I had dabbled in the industry a little bit, helping other people and actually managing someone else. But so I would say, yeah, a few years in, but as soon as I hit the ground, I hit the ground running because I had something to write about at this time. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? You know, we always say, or I would like to think that, you know, I get asked God for something. Oh my God, I want this now, I want this now. But if it's not the right timing for it,
Say
then
that.
it's not gonna happen.
Say that.
So what I'm hearing from you is, yeah, I've always been musical. I've always played in it, but it wasn't my time
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
2018. That's when God said, all right, girl, let's make it happen. And he tagged you
Right.
in. And what you, like you said, you hit the ground running. I think that's good. And I think people need to understand that too, because sometimes we just want things when we want it, how we want it, and we
Say
don't
that.
understand that it's not in our timing; it's in His
Mhm.
timing. And nothing
Yeah.
is gonna. I don't care what we do. It's not gonna happen until God says, "Now it's time."
That's right. And I kind of had that Sarah experience, you know, when God told them that they were gonna you know, or Abraham was gonna be the father of many nations, and
Yeah.
Sarah laughed. It's like, look how I'm
Right.
getting the industry now. Like, are you serious? It was that moment.
Okay.
But when it's God, you know, and you accept his will, everything else just falls in place, you know. So a friend of mine suggested that I get into the industry, and I laughed at her. I'm thinking, you don't see me now. Like that was a thing of the past. I would much rather manage other people. But again, when I figured out it was God, that song "Pure Love" came to me in the shower,
Wow.
and it was just boom from there. Yeah.
Wow. See how God moved? We give you inspiration, girl. That is good. So let me ask you this. With being in the music industry, going as a somebody who was dibbling and dabbling, like you said, writing jingles, so forth and so on, managing somebody and now being a full-blown artist, how how have you been able to navigate the industry? Because I know, you know, you hear women do interviews and they're always saying how hard it is for them in the industry as a woman, especially as a woman of color. And then you have our darker melanin sister versus our light skinned sisters. And then that can be a little, you know, crazy to navigate in the industry. So how have you sustained or managed to navigate all of those hurdles?
Well, the first thing that kind of set me in my place was just to ground myself, be true to who I am. You're gonna have people that's not gonna like you. They're not gonna support you. They're not gonna understand the music you sing. So a prime example was me being accepted overseas before in my own city. I'm from Detroit, so I had to go away to record. I'm in Houston recording with, you know, one of the top producers there. So it's like, come on, Detroit. But again, just to give it back to God here, a prophet is without honor except for in his own town. So I had to drop that expectation. Oh, she's too older. Oh, she's too dark. And this is R&B. How's she gonna sell it? just being true to me. And I had to accept some people are not going to like it. Some people are going to love it. So I'm just going to put out what's in me, and I'm not going to try to fit any form, because I didn't do it for the money. I'm doing it for the passion of it, doing it because I love it. And I notice when I do that, that's when it attracts more people, because a lot of people can relate to something that's real. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors out here now.
Yeah.
So.
And
yeah.
What is it? If you build it, they will come. It's that type of a mentality. So when you say you're not doing it for the money, I can appreciate that, because I don't get money for this. You know what I'm saying? And you have people that's like, girl, you should get money for what you're doing. And, and I'm like, oh, it'll come. I'm just enjoying having conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And then the more it grows, the more I see other doors opening. I see other things happening, and people I'm meeting now that's like, oh, girl, let me help you over here. I can put, and it's like, oh, okay, so if you build it, they will come. So,
that's right. You got to step out on faith and just.
Yeah, so,
right.
The money will come, as it grows for you, as God continues to bless you and open up the door. You're his daughter. He's not going to let you be out here starving. So I appreciate that you're doing it for passion and not for a fortune or fame.
Thank you.
I think a lot of young people can learn from that, and take that, because for fame ain't everything. You know what I'm saying? And you hear people that's famous talk about how they don't get a moment's peace, and everywhere they go is somebody trying to take a picture. They can't live a life that I can live.
Right.
Because of fame. So, kudos to you.
Thank you so much.
Doing it for all the right reasons,
Thank you.
One of the other things I had was, I know you kind of talked about, you wrote Pure Love. The song came to you in the shower. And you said back in the day, you would try to write things based on what other people were dealing with or going through. So now, where does your inspiration for your songwriting come from?
Most of it, actually 99.99% comes from something I've experienced, or something that I had a chance to witness through other people. And it comes to me. I can feel it. So it's mostly an emotive thing. Like, okay, what does this bring to my heart? Or what does it take away? What do I feel when I sing this piece or hum a melody? Sometimes the melody will come to me first. And it could be because I'm feeling some type of way. If I'm feeling sad, or I'm like, what is this coming from? Maybe I'm remembering an event with someone that I love, or, like my fiance is no longer here, so some of the music that I wrote was just being in my feelings, so then I'll pen words to it later. So I'll just put it into my phone and hold on to the concept and go back to it, and try to rewind and say, okay, what was I feeling when I hummed this melody? Like, what is this about?
Okay. Because, you mentioned your fiance, and I'm really sorry for your loss. My deepest condolences. But when you mentioned a fiance, it made me think he must have been the special guy in Pure Love. Because when I tell you, watching the video and then hearing you sing, when I tell you I felt that, like I wanted to run through there and grab that man, like, come on, baby, Pure Love. Like I felt your emotions in that song. So for you to be like, oh, I wrote it, I came up with it in the shower, and it was a divine type of a thing. I'm like, okay, I get the pure love from the divine, but that video had me feeling other things.
Oh, thank you. That was actually directed by Timothy Irving Jr. from Carolina Blue Films. He's really, really great.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just explained the concept of the song to him and what I was feeling, and he ran with it. Great guy, yeah.
Wow, it came together so great. It was a beautiful song. And like I said, I was almost tempted to call somebody and be like, okay, I'm sorry I yelled at you yesterday.
right? Oh my
No, but
goodness.
it's one of those type of songs, you know what I'm saying? It's like you really feel. So everybody, please go YouTube, Lady Bain, Pure Love. I guarantee you're gonna be calling somebody tonight, okay? So, so you write all of your own songs and you work with different producers. So right now, if you could work with any producer, who would your dream, pairing be?
Wait, great question. I would just really, this is gonna sound weird. CeeLo Green.
Yes, CeeLo. He's so talented.
Yes. So I'm not sure if he would bring someone else onto the project, but I would love to write with him, be in the studio through the process with him, and just see how he gets down. Now, I love like all of my music that's out there has been produced by Bass Heavy.
Okay.
Out of Houston, Texas. That man, and I've had problems before, like taking a concept to someone, and I got frustrated because I'm like, you're not seeing the vision. So I went into the studio, literally gave him the raw bones to that song. I hummed the melody to him, gave him the words, and within minutes, he's sitting there doing his thing. So I was like, yeah, that's a gift. That man, yeah, he's gifted. So I got a little spoiled because I could just shoot him a melody to a song and he'll work it out in a few, and he's a multi-instrumentalist. So to be able to work with somebody like that, he's worked with some of everyone in the industry, Mystical, Lil Wayne, a lot of people.
Okay.
A lot of people, Kanye West. So for me to be an R&B artist and for him to take on a project like my own, kudos to that guy. But CeeLo Green, I would love to pick his brain.
Okay.
I would love to. Yeah.
And I can hear you over with a CeeLo track, and I could definitely hear that because CeeLo is so versatile with his talent. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, that was a good answer. Like, I don't know you, CeeLo, but I'm gonna slide in your DMs and send you this interview, send you that clip. So I know you said you've been singing like in the church choir pretty much all your life, but when did you know that this was your calling? Was it 2018, or did you know sooner and maybe you were playing tug of war with it?
I'll tell you what, a lot sooner. I was maybe about 3 years old. And kudos to Dr. Daniel Moore, Detroit, Michigan. He and his father kind of discovered that I could sing when I was just that little. Like, I was in the choir, my feet barely touched the floor, but they worked with me from that age, and they literally put a microphone in my hand to do my first solo at 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
So just watching Daniel Moore and his father sang in a quartet, just watching them sing every Sunday, I'm like, I want to do that. It's something to it, with the riffs they would do and just the showmanship they had. God, I'm like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. So I can remember being maybe around 4 or 5 years old, watching Patti LaBelle. I'm glued to the TV, just watching her. I'm like, God, there's something about this, So as early as maybe 3 or 4, but the earliest severe memory was maybe 4 or 5 when I got a chance to sing in front of the church.
Okay. Now, probably go a little bit off right here. Okay, so with that time where you were kind of saying, I just would prefer to manage. Had it been something that happened that made you say, I want to take a step back from being an artist and just manage? Or, you know what I'm saying? Were you on the real verge of giving up on that artist side of yourself? And what kind of pushed you into that?
Well, the first thing I can kind of pinpoint was just my lack of faith in God.
Okay.
I had gotten so far into my own thing. I became a mom early, a wife early, and it's like, this is my life now. So I just put that on the back burner instead of saying, God, okay, I know eventually your will is going to be done. You gave me this gift, you know, the desires of my heart, but I don't see it. And I wasn't even truthful about it. It was just like, okay, that's not something I can or I'm willing to do anymore. So I did the whole mommy thing, put myself through the police academy, and I'm working. I'm doing me. So I always knew, you know, I'm singing at funerals, weddings, I'm doing a whole, but the passion for it was gone because I'm like, okay, this is just what I'll do just to keep my pipes right, so to speak, you know, or because somebody requested for me to sing, but it felt dry to me. I didn't have I was like, oh God, I gotta go sing at a wedding.
Oh.
No type of gratefulness in my heart. No, it was just, oh, I gotta go sing at a wedding, you know?
Wow.
So that was because I just couldn't see afar off. I didn't know what God was doing. So I'm on duty as a police officer, 2014, rear-ended by a drunk driver, my partner and I, and it ended my police career. So I had nothing but time on my hands to sit and think of what could have been, what should have been. But God, you got my attention now because I don't understand how I survived that. I don't get it. You know, so after several surgeries and disappointments and setbacks, I'm like, there's still something I'm not putting my hands on. You know, while I'm rehabilitating, my fiance gets sick. We had a plan for our life. Again, I'm planning out what I want to do or what I think needs to happen due to some adjustments instead of saying, God, okay, I'm going to walk this out, but I know what you put in my heart years ago. I know the desires that were there. I didn't have that conversation with God. I didn't. It was all about what I see in front of me and how I need to address these situations that are occurring now. But again, you know, somebody was watching from the background and saying, look, you need to do what God put you here to do, and that's to reach people, whether it's through ministering or singing or being creative. But I don't think that you're just meant to, you know, just walk your own path.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds funny. But however, the door just opened wide and I was in the hospital facing another surgery. And this time I didn't want to come out. I'm like, I don't see the end of this road. I don't get it. I'm just done. You know, I lost too much, sacrificed too much, and there's nothing left in me. So when I got home from the hospital, got into the shower, and then just like something just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I started singing Pure Love.
Wow.
And yeah, so I got my phone and sang almost the complete song, except for just a few tones into it. Sang the full song into my phone. And so I called a friend of mine who became my manager for a while, called her up. I said, I'm ready. And from then on, it was just like the door just opened. That February, I was in Houston, Texas, recording with one of the top producers in Texas. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Has to be God.
Yeah. And you know, I'm a believer that, well, now I am, because on my journey, I had to learn some things. And as I look back over life, I see where God had his hand in everything that got me to this. You know what I'm saying? And even the bad stuff. So as you're talking, I'm listening to you and I'm hearing car accident. God was saying you wasn't supposed to be a DPD. Like, yeah, I know you needed a job and you know what I'm saying, and so forth, to take care of certain things, but this ain't what your life is going to be, because this isn't what I have declared over you. So he got you out of that situation, right? You know what I'm saying? And even though that was a traumatic situation that caused you pain and suffering and surgeries and this and that, that whole path led to Lady Bain in Europe, Grammy considered. Woo! You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, all praises to him, right?
Yeah. And I wish people could understand and see that a lot more. Like I said, I'm just really over the past couple of years have been able to identify that every bad thing, every struggle, every pothole, every hurt, every pain, everything was designed to get me to where he wanted me to be. And I had to learn some stuff so I'll know what to do here. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
I had
Say
to learn
that.
something so I could
Yes.
know, and I could know what being grateful is. I could understand
Mm.
grace and mercy. I could
Yeah.
understand of the pain from another person because we share a commonality in that way. But if I wouldn't have went through all of that, I wouldn't know anything and I wouldn't be here. And your journey took you to pure love. It took you to Houston. It took you to a whole album. It took you to all of these songs with so much emotion, and that you're doing exactly what he wanted you to do, and that's touch people.
Thank you.
I'm so
Amen.
proud of you, girl.
Thank you so much. Oh, God is good. He is good.
Yes, and a lot of people don't get those lessons, until it's too late.
That's
So
right.
when God has his hands on you, though, it no matter how much you shake and jerk and try to, do the little Heisman moves or whatever they call them, you cannot get away from the hand of God.
Say that, right? Amen.
Cannot. One of the other things I wanted to talk to you or ask you about was okay, so you're old school like me, I presume, because you was naming
Yeah.
Patti LaBelle and all these other people. So I know you old
Mm-hmm.
school R&B like I am.
Yeah.
And back in the day, they didn't have all this technology, so you had to be in the studio with that person to record a song. So,
Mm-hmm.
but today you could just kind of just send it digitally, and it's all done. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer being in that studio, in that environment, or are you okay with just singing it and sending it and allowing it to be done?
Oh gosh, I have to be just for me to really. I have to be in that studio. It's almost like to me the difference between standing over a stove and putting something in the microwave. And
Yeah.
not to diss people that prefer the new way, but it's something about being in that atmosphere, putting on my cap, having it dark, those headphones on, and you hear that first click in those headphones, like it's about to take off, darling. Let's go. It's just that, woo, I think I do it just for that sensation. It's like a drug to me,
Okay.
so I just enjoy that. Then when you're around, because energy is real, when you're around other creatives, you can feel that in the
Yeah.
room, and it's nothing like looking over at the engineer and just giving them that nod, like, yeah, we're on, it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a high.
My son is a recording engineer in Atlanta, and he always talks about like the different artists that he'll be like, oh, well, we had these rappers come in and they was fine, the vibe, whatever. He was like, but man, this R&B chick came in here. And he was like, man, she had me in tears. I was about to call and apologize to some people. Like, he just says like the energy, and he
Yeah.
enjoys being in there and feeling energy with people, recordings and everything. And some people you could tell he's super excited about it because
Yeah.
like the energy is crazy. Like I love these cats. And then some people he'll
Mm-hmm.
call me, and I'm like, I could see on FaceTime. I'm like, you at the studio? He like, yeah, I'm about to take a nap. And I'm like, how you gonna take a nap and you the engineer? You know what I'm saying? He's like, they don't
Right.
believe me for what they do. And then I'm like, oh my God, Trey. So I can understand what you're saying about the energy of being in there with other creative minds that are, on one accord.
Yes.
That has to be a powerful feeling. How do you feel when you're
Mhm.
on stage and you're performing live?
Well, you definitely get that feedback from the audience. So that's like, it's just, it's empowering. It makes you want to just really, it's humbling, no doubt, but it just gives you that feeling like, oh, I have to give them something. They came from something. I have to leave my face on this floor for these people. So yeah, it's a humbling experience. It's fun, just to get that energy back and be received, and yeah.
So what
Yeah.
was your best or show moment? Who was the audience? What crowd gave you like the best energy to make you say, I don't want to get off this stage?
Let's see. I would like to say when I was in Baton Rouge,
Okay.
Louisiana. Yeah. those people, I mean, they know the arts. They appreciate music there. So, and by my songs having kind of that retro vibe to it,
Mm-hmm.
it was well received, and I loved it. I'm like, yeah, they get me. So there was this old cat on the stage. I don't like to call him older. Let me say that. Be politically correct. And he was listening to the track being played, and he wanted to play along. Great musician. He's just in it, you know, and he's playing along with it. He goes, yeah, yeah, like this is real. This is real music. So that felt great. That felt great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I like that too, because you know you can recognize it. Like I told
Yeah.
you off rip, I was like, oh, this is rip R&B. Like, wait a minute, let me get comfortable and go back and play it again because it was real for me. It wasn't like the norm that's out there now. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you talked about real love. And one of the songs I did want to talk to you about was Do Me. So for Do Me, for me, I felt like that song was saying, I'm over this whole situation. I'm about to go live my life, deuces. So is that where you were coming from? Was that a breakup song?
Actually, that's the one and only song that I did not write. So I had to interpret that for somebody.
Okay.
And yes, and I can totally relate to it. That's why I agreed to sing it. Yes, a breakup song. It's, you know, we've been together, we've done this together, but you're on something different. So it's time to do me, whether it's, I don't care what age you're at. I'm gonna go back and get my education, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna make some power moves. It's about me and standing in my moment. So I'm sure a lot of women can relate, and men too, but I'm sure a lot of women can relate to that, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, because like you said
Mhm.
earlier, you married young, you had a child young, and you was ready to give your whole life to that. How is a lot
Mhm.
of women who do that and they let go of their dreams or their
Mhm.
aspirations because this is the situation now. So I'm going to go to
Mhm.
work. I'm going to help pay bills. I'm going to take care of the kids. I'm going to cook and clean and do all the things a good wife should do and not focus on myself anymore. And then that bump in the road comes and they have to do them. They have to
Right.
make that decision to say, you know what? I am no longer going to do this anymore. I'm no longer going to subject myself to this. I'm going to do me. I'm
Mhm.
going to figure out what I want to do, stand up for that, and do that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of women can definitely agree with what you're saying in that song. Because I went back to
Mhm.
school late, you know, and it took me like 11 years to get 2 degrees, being a single parent, working full time, so forth. You know what I'm saying? And you pulled in so many different directions, and then you got to take a break from school because I need to go get this second job because, girl, I didn't know this bill
Mhm.
was coming due like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Oh, wait.
before you
Yes.
know it, yeah, and then
Oh,
before you know it, like all that time has went away, and all of those things you wanted to do then, it seems like it's so far fetched. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, kudos to you for doing that because a lot of people they don't keep the vision in view. So I'm glad you did it. You said 2 degrees.
Yeah,
Wow.
girl. It was a
Oh,
long journey. It was. But you know,
oh,
it was important. The first one was because my mama said, you gonna get that bachelor's degree or die.
that's
Like,
just I don't blame her. Come on, mama. Yes. I
he was
don't
like, you
blame her.
gonna get it or die. If you wanna live, you better crack a book. So that's what it was.
Right. Yes. I don't
And
blame
then
her.
I realized after I got it, I wanted to do more. I needed to do more. I felt like I was still trapped. I felt like I couldn't excel with my job or whatever. And I said, okay, so I had to sit back and do a plan. And I wrote out a
Mm,
10-year plan. And in that 10-year plan, I researched my career and what it was
mm,
going to take to elevate in it and what was the highest place to go in it and what was the cap out dollar. And then I looked at
mm,
my age and said, okay, well, by this age I want to be at this dollar amount, and at this age I'm going to be at this dollar amount. And
mhm,
going back to school was a part of the equation. Like, okay, I got to get this
mhm.
master's. I got to get this master's. So,
Yes,
yeah,
Lord.
it was all a part. It was just working that 10-year plan and checking one thing off the list at a time, accomplishing one thing at a time. And praise the Lord, at 47, I've reached my 50-year-old income goal.
Come on.
Yeah. So I said, look at
Go
Jesus.
ahead, girl.
When you give in to God and you do what you're supposed to do, no matter how hard it seems, no matter how long it takes, stay the course.
Amen.
And
right.
before I knew, and it was funny because I really didn't even realize it until tax season this year. And I was like, dang, that's I was like, oh my God. I'm like, wait a minute, let me go back and check that book and where I wrote, like, look at you, Jesus. I'm 3 years ahead of the curve. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, wow.
It was a real blessing. And so yeah, ladies, go do you, girl. It'll be a blessing.
Yes.
Do you. Let's see here. So, okay, you said that you had to go to Europe, right? To really get the recognition because people in your hometown really wasn't as supportive. So how did it feel when the charts rolled out and it was Lady Bain top 100 in Europe? Like, what was that emotion?
Well, I would love to go to Italy. Can't wait to go. But I'm gonna tell you, this is when I found out. I was on an interview. I think it was. I can't remember the name of the station. Forgive me, Lord. On an interview, and the person that was interviewing me said, "Hey, K100." Sorry. He says, "Yeah, you're like." You have over like 1 million views in the UK. And I'm sitting there like, it didn't register right away. I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then over in North Korea, and this is like very early on, like the song had just been released. And I'm like, really? So he could see all of those stats, he knew. And I'm like, wow, I'm from the D. And I'm finding this out in Houston, you know what I'm saying? And then shortly after that, I was #1 in Italy. Just, I'm like, these people don't even speak the same language most of the time, and they're, showing me love. So it felt great, but it was also like, wow, I hope to one day bring it home to the D. But if not, hey, I'll make my home over overseas, no problem.
Okay, girl, you
better
get on that train with your little white gloves and sip your tea to the next awards ceremony.
Okay, girl, no problem. Yeah.
Yes, my best friend and I was talking about taking a trip. I always told my son that that's my dream vacation, to do a European vacation and just be able to ride the little train with my little white gloves on and sip my tea. And I could be like, I'm a guest of Lady Bain, okay?
Right. Okay, we're going to speak that on out in the atmosphere. It's going
yes,
down. Okay.
I am a guest of Lady Bain. Let me in this mansion.
Right.
So you mentioned Patti LaBelle earlier. You mentioned your mentors at church, but who are some of your other musical inspirations or musical inspirational mentors or something like that?
Well, definitely. Oh, I have to mention Martha Reeves. Wow. I sang next to her when I was about 7 or 8. Wow. We were in Martin Luther King celebration choir. And she's so humble. I mean, God. So I'm sitting next to this Motown icon. I didn't really, understand the magnitude of her being a celebrity, but she gave me some pointers just so we wouldn't get in trouble with Maddie Moss Clark, because she was notorious for throwing things at the section if we didn't have it right.
Okay.
So after rehearsal, she gave me her phone number. And I don't think people really believed me because I was so young. And I'm like, Martha Reeves gave me her phone number, but to have that type of impact on me so early, it just kind of stuck with me. So, I've written about her in articles, and I had a chance to run into her. I think it was back in maybe May, I believe. And I brought up that event, and she goes, "Yeah, you never called me." I'm like, oh God, So my son got a chance to meet her, and she's just been so helpful to me since then. I just can't even begin to tell you what she's done for me. So yeah, she's been a fixture in my mind ever since I was 7 or 8. But other people, Nat King Cole, just his intonation and diction and his showmanship is just so smooth. Other people that are still living, um, my God, there's so many. Even may not believe this, but the younger cats, I would say Jasmine Sullivan, Adele, right?
Okay, I love
You
it.
know, yeah. So yeah, those are just kind of people I look at when it comes down to how they move in the industry right now. Adele definitely carved out her own spot,
Yes, she did.
right? And even when she came on the scene, she was a heavier woman.
Mm,
And I'm sure people paid attention to it, but you couldn't help but listen to her voice and to see what she brings to the table.
yeah.
So, and Miss Jasmine Sullivan, she's an instrument, a walking instrument. So I just watch how she does her own thing.
Mm,
Anita Baker, that's my girl. I love her.
yes, I
She's
love Anita.
one of a kind. Yeah. So hopefully, the indelible mark that I leave on the industry is Lady Bain was her own entity. She didn't sound like anybody else. She brought her own fire. That's really my goal. Hopefully that's what God has in store for me, but that's kind of where I want to leave it. She has a smoky vibe to her, but she can play on the higher end of the scale too,
Yeah.
but when she finds her zone, she's there. She's gonna put you in that kind of mood. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to have my own lane here.
Oh my God. Well, I'm gonna, when we get older, because I'm not old yet, but when we get older
Right? Do it now.
and you have like 30 Grammys on the show, I'm gonna sell this recording on eBay and make a quick million, okay?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Like, I'm gonna let you know now. Video
That's all right.
starts at 1 million, and we only going up from here.
Right.
This is like I knew her when type of a thing. Like, yeah. So they not gonna have to ask me, did she give you her phone number? I'll be like, baby, I got proof, video documentation. I know her.
Yes. Thank you.
Let's see. Now, you know what? When you were I wanna, before we go any further, I did want to ask you, do you write for other artists?
Yes, I've been approached to write for other artists. So we just have to work out the paperwork and how I want to. This is gonna sound weird. I have not seen this done before, so I'm gonna mention this on your show. I am really, really praying about, thinking about, sitting on it, about auctioning some original music,
Oh wow.
auctioning off like art and it doesn't have to be to a singer, it can be to someone who's into music, and I want to do it where it's actually printed with the music, the composed music, and then also with the recording. So yeah, I have not seen that done. Maybe it's done, but I've not seen that done yet.
Right, like that'll be interesting, to auction off your products, and then when they buy it, they're buying the entire rights to it, right? So you're saying you're sending the
Absolutely.
paperwork as well that say you're now the owner of. Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. Because
Yeah.
then, even if they say they do commercials or advertising for a company, then they can buy that song and use it for an advert or anything like that. So that's a good idea. Look at you, you Detroit hustle.
Right.
That's that Detroit
Detroit in the
hustle.
house. Right, baby. Right.
They
Detroit.
make that $1 out of 15 cents in no time.
Yeah.
So one of the interviews I heard, you were on Tune Vision. Is that how you pronounce
Yeah.
it?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things he said was, or one of the things I think I heard you say on there was, once you put it on there, you noticed how quickly people were listening or hearing it or responding to it. So what was like, how big of an impact did that make, putting your music on that platform?
I think because they put visuals to it too.
Okay.
This is a very visual society now. They're like, okay, who's this Lady Bain girl? So that really worked. I really appreciate the so-called smaller platforms. So I like to call people's platforms small, but under 1 million. Let's just be fair. So I was just really, really surprised at the feedback. And then my followers went up on social media. Oh, I do apologize. Did I lose you?
No, I'm
Okay.
here.
So, so I really appreciate the plug-in. Anytime someone gives me just a few minutes on their platform, you never know how it can go, So
Right.
yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
right. So that's good though, because some people be more of, oh no, you're too small. Like I've reached
Right.
out to people who have organizations that are doing things in the community, or they've written a book or something. And I'm like, oh my God, I went to your page, I read up on what you were doing. I did a little Google search, and I found out that I think it's wonderful. I would love to host you. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, my
Mhm.
platform is small. I don't have 1 million followers, but I would love to hear more about what you're doing. You share it with my listeners. You never know who
Mhm.
it may help. And I've had people say,
That's right.
oh, thank you, but it would be at least this amount to get me to come on your
Oh,
show.
what?
Or, oh, thank you, but you're under X amount of subscribers right now. And I'm like, you bougie.
Right,
Like,
and they
you was
never
not
know who's
always at the
listening.
top of the totem pole, ma'am, sir.
Right.
You had to start
Mhm.
somewhere. And if
That's right.
somebody didn't look out for you at some point, I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure you wouldn't be where
Right.
you are. You know what I'm saying? But I've gotten
That's
like
right.
a lot of feedback like that. That's why when people come on, I'm like, thank you so much. Like,
Yeah, but you never know who may see your show. Like, say you're under 1 million followers, you never know who's listening, who knows who, or whatever. So yeah, people need to check it at the door. They need to check it
yeah,
at the door. Yeah, I
yeah,
got a
you're
lot of
right. You never
exposure.
know.
From
And
so-called smaller platforms.
yeah, because
Yeah.
this conversation, somebody out of my, subscribers or viewers might be listening, and maybe they're on the fence thinking like, you know what, I can't do it. I can't, I'm too old now,
Mhm.
or life that took over. And now they see that, hey, look at everything that Lady Bain has been through. And she
Mhm.
followed the will of God, and look at her now.
Mhm. Yes,
All of
that's
that
right.
led her to this place of victory. And that's inspiring
Yeah.
for somebody else. I know it inspires
Amen.
me to keep going, keep moving.
Amen.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about the brand, the skincare line. Let's go
Thank
into that,
you.
because Lady Bain is more than music, y'all. Y'all be flipping how y'all thought it was just about a song. She's a whole branding beauty mogul going on right here. So let's talk about skincare.
Yes. Well, I had some issues with all of the medicine that I was on. My skin began to break out and become blotchy and patchy, and it was disheartening. I didn't want anybody to see me. I wouldn't go to events during that time. It was just really depressing. And I did something drastic because I love my meat, honey. I love me some burgers and loved it. But I noticed that with all the steroids and stuff, my cholesterol shot up. I was on the brink of becoming diabetic, and I'm like, I have to do something because I don't have the agility. I can't move around,
Yeah.
like I wanted to at that time. So I became vegan,
Okay.
and that did help my skin substantially. But in the interim, I wanted to stick to being strictly vegan, just past the holistic approach, but just the more I educated myself on what happens to animals when they're being tested on and all that stuff, just kind of did something to my heart. So I tried to find a lot of vegan products, and I'm pulling from here and that person. This, and I said, okay, why don't I do somebody a favor? Because I'm going to do myself a favor in the process. I'm going to work with someone who can help me to develop a vegan brand and something that's going to have some longevity to it. So I sat on it for a while and I finally launched it. I stepped out on faith, and I'm just, I'm seeing what God actually, when I prayed about it and God gave me the vision for it, I'm like, I can't tell anybody that. That sounds too big for somebody like me. But, when I got into the mindset of, I'm going to help somebody like other people had to help me, because like I said, I had to pull from this product and that one. It's like, okay, I'm going to bring it all together in one place. And my mantra is beauty from the inside out, so from there, just the snowball effect occurred in my life. And I wanted to, have a nonprofit where women who are victims of domestic violence or just depression, who's having issues with their self-image, because that was something really big to me, just to, because my skin has always been, in my mind, because I used to model, flawless. So to have those things happen, it took a shot at me, and I couldn't recover from it so quickly. So I had to reach inside and say, okay, what helped me to bounce back emotionally? So you can hide how you feel with makeup sometimes, but you need somebody to kind of cater to the inner man as well. Yeah. So I want my brand to be more than just making up your outside. Let's get to the person that we're catering to, and that's somebody that may need more than just makeup, somebody that needs to probably rebuild their life and feel good just by putting on a little bit of lip gloss or whatever. So I wanted to turn it into more of a makeup ministry. And so that's kind of how the brand developed. It helps me to help other people in that regard. And when I first launched it, it was just like people from nowhere, when they read my story about it, they're like, hey, I can relate to that. And they'll buy some lipstick or some blush. So when I'm finally established as a nonprofit, when I get my paperwork back in Jesus' name quickly, hopefully, we can start giving a good portion of that to different charities, or to link up with different charities and have events. This is the long spoon of it, but to bring other people aboard and, have conferences, so I want it to be just bigger than makeup. Bigger than makeup.
And I love that. I love that. Everybody knows that I have lupus. I have discoid lupus. So I did a whole episode last year when I first started doing this with no makeup on. And it was just called Peeling Back the Mask, or Peeling Off the Mask. And to just let people see, like, this is how I look, y'all. And, it was me being authentic, coming out of my shell, breaking through some barriers of self-image that I had on myself. And that was my first step of saying, you know what, if you're going to get past this, you got to just dive into it. And makeup is an issue because, I can't put certain products on my skin, even with lotions and what I use to bathe and wash with. Like, I have to be very, very careful, because anything will break me out, cause red blotches, cause bruising and everything. And it takes forever for me to heal once it happens. So I'm so happy to hear about a vegan or a clean product line that's not bogged down by so many chemicals and names that we can't pronounce when you're reading ingredients. That's like, I didn't even know they had them many letters.
Right.
Oh my goodness. All the letters in that one word. But so I'm really happy about that. And you can definitely know that I would be a supporter.
Thank you so much.
Line. Yes, definitely will be supporting that. And thank you for giving us, because it's a lot of people with skin irritations, and what's so weird is a lot of times you don't get it until later in life.
Yes.
Like you said, your skin was always good. You used to model. Like, they told me I was too short to be a model, but I had great skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, great skin until I hit my 30s. And then I woke up one morning with bruises. and it literally looked like I had been in a fight overnight. And like
Oh
every morning for the course of some weeks, every morning it was just another bruise. And I'm like, what is happening to me? I'm using the same detergent, I'm using the same products, I'm following the same processes. I don't understand what's happening. And it ended up being lupus, and it didn't happen until later, until my 30s. So even with that, for a lot of people, you know, we don't always have an ailment until later in life. So it's good to know that there's a product and somewhere we can go that can teach us about skincare and give us some good inside out care.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, your skin looks great now. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you, Mac.
Yes, girl, you glowing. You are glowing. Yeah.
So what else is next? I heard something else that you were working on, a book.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have our R&B career with all these awards coming, and me standing outside like I told y'all, I know her, let me in. And then we have our vegan makeup line that is also going to provide us beautiful makeup from inside out, right? Because it's a whole vegan product. And we have our nonprofit. Girl, you are busy. Where we can help help people feel good, be good, look good with themselves. And now there's a book. Whew.
Yeah.
When did you find the time to sleep?
Oh God, you know what? I got enough sleep when I was sick. I got enough sleep. And you know, I have to work on this because I panic too. It's like, oh my God, did I do this? And even if I have a list of things in front of me, I have to learn how to let certain things just go at the flow instead of just being so busy. And yeah, I'm trying to get my sleep in because I sleep 2 hours here and 4 hours there. Yeah. But I'm glad I'm above ground and I'm able to keep going and keep moving.
Yes, amen. So tell us about the book. Have you come up with the title or concept? How far along are we?
Yeah, so I will keep you in the loop on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That was the end of that conversation. So let me ask you, are you working with, do you have a team that's working with you on your behalf where you could delegate things, or are you like this one woman show?
I do have help, and I thank God for that. I have to learn how to accept help.
Okay.
I have to learn how to let other people rock my baby for me at times. I'm getting better with that. I'm getting better. Yeah, I think right. You know how the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. You know, and I've done that, and I'm sure a lot of people catch it, but I have to learn how to take my hands off a little bit more and just say, okay, they've got it. They understand the vision. They get it. I think what I set kind of a bar for myself, and I'm like, okay, when I get here, then I'll hire somebody. When I get to this level, then I'll let somebody else kind of give some input. I'm not really neurotic though, but I can be, I can be a little something to deal with, you know, in the creative stages.
I don't know. I think sometimes with that, you're like, maybe it's that mindset of, if it's going to get done right, I have to do it myself. Sometimes but relinquishing that control that other people are going to do it the way you see it being done or need it to be done, to know that it was done properly. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I could understand that resistance to giving over so much to other people, especially right now when you have so many things going on, and some things are in the beginning stages, some things are ready to go into production, and you're just trying to make sure everything fall or lands where it's supposed to land properly. So I can understand the little narcissism.
Like, oh, I gotta get better at that. But yeah, I feel myself getting a little bit better, but I know I can work on it.
No, but I say the same thing. I'm like, I'm a one-woman show. I'm doing everything by myself. And then some days I'll be like, oh, I wish I had some help. But at the end of the day, I really don't want the help. Like, the only thing I want help with is the technology. And I call and harass my son over that. And he's like, "Well, you realize I'm in Georgia, right? I can't see what you're talking about or anything." He's like, "You have to find somebody else there or go to YouTube and learn some stuff." But, the main thing I really look for help on is the technology part. Everything else, I think it makes me feel useful.
Yes. Yep.
To do the research, to make the phone calls, to talk to the people, to negotiate the price, to figure it out. Well, how much did you guys do this for? Do you think I could do it for that? You know, like it makes me feel useful in my process to have my hands on it at all times. Because even when I'm at my day job, I'm still just sending promos out and doing this. And you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't stop. It's just an all day thing.
Yes, I totally get it.
But I like talking to women like you who have that strength to keep going and that persistence to never give up, because it helps me stay strong in the fight when I see you doing 50 things and you know you're smiling with it, you're graceful through it all, you're humbled by it, but you're not giving up, you're staying focused, you're staying in it, you know, regardless to how you may feel that day, you're still getting up doing it. And that inspires me to say, girl, I don't care if your knees feel 80 today, we still got to get up and go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get so much inspiration from the people that I talk to on here.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Now, there are mornings I'll get up and start crying. I literally will cry. I've cried. Like, I had an episode last week. I'm like, you know, it's not that it's too much, it's that discipline. When you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, you know, the body wants to resist. The mind wants to resist. You know, I want to get those extra couple minutes. And I know, you know, I have something that's due on a specific deadline, but I don't feel like doing it. You know, my mind is saying, Cassandra, girl, you don't have to, you grow. You set your own hours. But it's do all things as unto the Lord. When I look at my father's name, Bain, that's his name, and I can't let down my heavenly father, but nonetheless my dad. Like I have to really, that comes with a whole different fear factor. So I'll break down and cry some days, but I'm like, I gotta keep going. And you know what? Not to get long-winded, but it just reminds me of when I was in the police academy. I couldn't come home and say, okay, I quit. Because I had two young men looking up to me, my two sons. It's like, you know, either I'm going to do it or I'm going to go home and disappoint my boys. So I just revert back to that mentality when it was snowing outside and we're doing bear crawls in the snow, or, you know, climbing up a hill, or, you know, it was hard training, but I did it. So I have no choice now but to do it and stay disciplined.
All right. And y'all hear that, y'all people out here in this music industry, all that stuff y'all be playing up DPD right here, okay? Y'all not running that on her.
Right?
Y'all not running them games on her. She had you in that chokehold in a heartbeat.
Right. Yes.
I love that. And you know, you were saying about your sons looking up to you. And when I was telling you earlier how I got the 2 degrees, you know, the first one was for my mom, but that second one was for my son. So I understand what you're saying with having somebody that's looking up to you, and you don't want them to, you don't want to show them a quitter. Because it was plenty of times where I just wanted to be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? But no, I need for him to see that this can be accomplished, regardless to how old I am now, regardless to what the situation, it can be accomplished. I have to stay consistent in the pocket with this. I need for him to see that. And it pays off because now he's that hard worker. And he always says, "Ma, you're the example. Like, my dedication is because of your dedication." And I never thought that he saw me, that dedication in me. I thought it was coming from his grandparents. You know what I'm saying? Or somewhere. Like, no, you got your work ethic from your grandparents. And he's like, no, crazy lady, I got it from you. You know what I'm saying? So, never
Yeah,
really know what they're paying attention to.
that's
So
right.
you staying in the fight and you not being a quitter makes all the difference to them. You know what I'm saying? In the long run, because
Amen.
they'll be able to look back on that and say, you know what, my mama didn't give up. I'm not gonna give up.
Mhm.
I remember my mama came home tired, but she still, so let me give myself up and go. You know what I'm saying? So that's a great
Yeah.
example. A great, great, great example.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love to
Mm.
hear stuff like that. Well, I'm gonna let you go because I'll sit here and talk to you all day, girl. I'll be having you like sing the Star Spangled Banner. We hear some other stuff. You've been hung up on me like, girl, don't ever call me again. But so people can follow you, reach out, your brand, the everything. How can we find Lady Bain?
Yes, so you can follow me on all social media outlets at Lady Bain Music. That's LadyBain Music. And then for Bain Brand and Company, that's my vegan skincare line. We're on Instagram as Bain Brand Beauty. Facebook, Bain Brand and Company. And you can Google my skincare brand and you can Google Lady Bain Music and find out more about me. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much again for agreeing to sit with a little old thing like me. I
You're
really
amazing.
appreciate you so, so much. Your story is amazing and wonderful. And hopefully, we'll be able to do this again sometimes.
Yes.
And if you're ever having an event, I would love to be, to be a guest, to just sit in the audience or anything like that. I would love to support you in your nonprofit and anything else, any way that I can be a blessing to whatever it is you're doing, you can count me in.
Oh, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Yeah, I'm only girl a few clicks away, and I'm right there for you. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you. Did you want to leave a final thought for anybody, or for us? That you want to leave us with anything?
Yes, I'll leave a quick thought. I always say this. This is kind of my tagline. Nothing is happening to you, it's all happening for you. When you trust God, the sky's the limit. Just let him have his way in your life. You never know how the road will turn out, but it will turn out for your favor. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you so much, Lady. We
Yeah.
love y'all. I'm like a little schoolgirl right now. So
Thank you.
I just want to say to everybody that tuned in and is watching, thank you so much for being a part of the Faithfully Heard family. Thank you for watching. And as always, when writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. Have a great week in Christ. Talk to you guys soon.